Okay, so just 24 hours ago there was a clash between protesters and federal agents within the city of Eugene. Now Eugene is south of Salem and of course south of Portland within the state of Oregon. Now, without a doubt, the media has really been focusing on the state of Minnesota, whether that's Minneapolis or St. Paul and politicians belonging to that state. But for those of you that are unaware, there's a lot of action that's going down in the state of Oregon, whether it's clashes with federal agents or whether that's actual policies being put into place. And I want to give you an update as far as what's going on in the state of Oregon. I mean, there's a city in Oregon right now that is considering making officers pull over federal agents to confirm their identity and legitimacy. Just to give you an idea of what's going on in some of these cities. And real quick before we dig into all of this, make sure to please like the video. It's the #1 way you guys are helping this channel, and it also helps others see the videos as well. Also, I go live every morning. I don't want you guys to miss a thing. We go over stuff like this and other federal operations around the United States. So, turn on your notifications, subscribe, leave a comment. That way you don't miss the live streams. So, let's start with Eugene, Oregon.
Meanwhile, multiple people were detained by federal officers in Eugene during an anti-ICE protest Tuesday. This was the chaotic scene as federal officers and protesters clashed during a series of confrontations that started around 1 p.m. You see one person pinned in the street as protesters gathered around. Eyewitnesses saying at one point the officers deployed chemical irritants and pepper balls. One protester who was detained described what happened after she was released.
Grabbed me, put me in handcuffs, and then they dragged me into the building with probably 4 of them, carrying me from different limbs. And then once I was inside the building, they put me on the ground and they were sitting on my legs and kind of hyperextending my ankles.
Okay, so first things first, I just have to point out, I know for a lot of you, you're mainly used to seeing protesters in Portland and clashing with federal agents there. However, Eugene is not really that unique of an area for these types of protests at this particular federal building that actually occurred over the summer. So, just to give you a little context again, if you're brand new to all of this and you've really only been paying attention to Portland, just so you are aware, Eugene has also been a place of protest for protesters versus federal agents. In fact, when we go back to the original clip, you'll see there are some agents in black and yellow, and those are the FPS, Federal Protective Services, and their primary job is, of course, to protect federal buildings. And the fact that FPS is already stationed here, and you don't hear too much about Eugene, this does give us an indication that Homeland Security knows this can potentially be a hot spot for clashing with protesters. So, keep that in mind. Whenever you see the FPS, the guys in black and yellow, Homeland Security has probably identified this could be a possible area in which we need more backup in order to protect a building or area. And it looks like this particular protest went on for a while.
It's dark, and I'm blind with my mask on.
Now, when I was doing research for this video, it looks like Honey Badger Mom was actually on the scene, and she gives us a description as far as how much residue is in the area. If you guys want to go give her a follow or go support her on X.
I am down at the federal building in Eugene. I just walked up into the courtyard where there were a lot of protesters / rioters. There's no way this isn't a riot. And they're saying, free them all. They're chanting. There's a lot of people in block all over. I don't think I can show you, but...
And for those of you that don't know what block is, that's when you see people in head-to-toe blacked out with like a helmet or goggles and gloves or protective gear. That's what block means.
There are some, there you can see it, drones up in the sky. I did actually see officers inside, but I do know that there were several arrests today, that people defaced the building. I don't know how many people were here. I can say that it is just rank with pepper ball residue, and they may have tear gassed them. I don't know, but The air is still very spicy in spite of the rain. So,
and eventually everybody did clear away. Now, I am still waiting on more reports as far as how many people were arrested, but just to let you guys know again as I make this video, this all happened about 18 hours ago. So, actually less than 24 hours ago. Okay, we will get back to the clashing and the protesting, but I want to go over some policies that are taking place in Oregon. And to me, I think it's really sliding under the radar. Now, I've always said this about Oregon when I started looking into sanctuary policies, whether that's a city or a state. And as many of you are aware, Oregon is generally considered a sanctuary state, and there are a handful of states. But in my opinion, there's none like the state of Oregon, because what we're seeing across the board in counties and towns and cities, we're seeing stuff like this. Sanctuary policies that are not just your standard sanctuary policy, such as the police don't work with deportation operations. We're talking about things like using police possibly to look into ICE activity as to whether or not it's illegal. So, this is the city of Beaverton, which is just west of Portland. I mean, it's very close to Portland. City councilors clash with some saying the ordinance does not go far enough to protect people. Talking about sanctuary city ordinance, one councilor noted the city has already been going after federal agents. We already have a traffic safety element of our code, and we already have cited federal agents who have broken those codes. Now getting a conviction is very, very difficult because of qualified immunity, says City Councilor Kevin Tita. Now, like I read to you at the beginning of this video, this is really the main takeaway or the big story coming out of the city of Beaverton. This city council meeting the city is considering making officers pull over federal agents to confirm their identity and legitimacy. The policy would also ask the Attorney General and District Attorney to investigate reports of agents using force like smashing windows and using pepper spray. Now, to give you some even more context, I've already covered the city of Beaverton, and I've been looking into that city for a while. There are a lot of protesters or advocates, voters who are not happy with the city of Beaverton, almost accusing city police of being complacent or working with Homeland Security as far as deportation operations. So keep that in mind. That could be why we're seeing city councilors trying to push a more aggressive policy in line with some of these protesters. But again, this is the city of Beaverton. Okay, now, from here, we're going to go to the city of Portland, and we're going to be sourcing from Katie Davis Court. If you guys want to go give her a follow, go support her. On January 25th, clips and videos were surfacing of very intense clashes. And you'll notice in the video, you don't really have that many federal agents like we saw in the past. So that is very notable to what we're seeing. I also want to point out what you're seeing right now. I mean, it really looked like what was happening back in June when nobody was really paying attention to this story. So I don't know if we're going back in time here. I don't know what's happening, but those are my observations as I used to cover this story every single day since June. So here we go. I also want to point out there are a lot more protesters than we have seen in the past. I mean, as you guys know, there was a moment of I don't want to say silence, but a downward period of like there was nothing really going on. You may have noticed even on my own YouTube channel, I wasn't really covering too much of Portland. And it's not because there weren't a lot of protesters, but I was already going to the outskirts of Portland and looking into ICE operations. But it looks like protesters are almost taking advantage of the fact, or just returning because there's a lack of security presence now at the federal building. According to the videos I'm seeing, and you know, back in October, we had way more federal agents. A lot more federal agents. It doesn't look like there's that many federal agents right now. I mean, just looking at this visual right here, as you guys remember in October when President Trump was talking about this, Kristen Nolan was talking about this. This entire building was littered with federal agents. Now, I also want to point out if you guys are unaware of the policies, because I'm sure some of you are thinking, where's the Portland police? because the Portland police, I thought they were supposed to be helping federal agents. According to the city of Portland's own policy, sanctuary policies, the Portland police cannot get involved if tear gas is used. So, when the tear gas settles, that's when the Portland police can get involved. But as of right now, it looks like this was all up to the federal agent to try and figure out what's going on here. Okay, so leave your comments down below how you feel about this. Now, Katie also caught some other interesting footage. Again, this gives us another indication as far as a lack of security presence, if you will. I mean, if this happened in October, it wouldn't happen. You could never get this close as far as trying to knock off this security camera right here. Now, one thing we do know that was reported over the summer, this building is supposed to get a $4 million security upgrade. I don't know if it's still happening, but it should be noted that was reported back in the summer as far as destroying property and this particular federal building needing an upgrade. So, based off of Katie's reporting, it looks like there were multiple volleys of tear gas or using pepper balls. And again, I will be keeping track as to what's going on in the city of Portland. Why are we seeing more protesters? Could it be because there's a lack of security? Could it be more motivation because of what's happening in Minnesota? I will be investigating that for you and just really looking into it, trying to be fair and report all the sides accurately. So, make sure to please subscribe to my channel so I can keep you up to date with that. Okay, so going back to those policies we were talking about, Forest Grove. Again, the state of Oregon is a sanctuary state, and you would assume what's the point of these cities and counties to create these states of emergency or reaffirm their sanctuary city? Well, it is happening, and it's happening throughout the state of Oregon. So, Forest Grove affirms it's a sanctuary city and a 6-to-1 vote will develop new internal IC policies. These are new policies on top of the already policies passed in a 6-to-1 vote Monday, January 12th. The ordinance directs the city manager to develop policies, training, and staff resources for city employees on how to interact with federal immigration enforcement while establishing reporting requirements and calling for the city to request public records and monitor federal activity. The city will also define non-public areas of city-owned facilities that federal agents cannot access without a warrant. And again, the City of Bend draft policy to stop ICE on city property. The City of Bend drafted a new policy outlining its pushback to federal immigration officers should they attempt to make arrest or stage operations on city property. Now again, You see and hear about this all the time when it comes to sanctuary states or areas. But if you are interested and even have the time in your life to do this, if you look into Oregon, again, I think they really go above and beyond internally on the county and state level as far as how far they really tried to push the boundaries where you could be crossing that line of trying to supersede the federal government. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Admittedly, I've been on a little bit of a hiatus reporting on Oregon. I wanted to focus my attention on other federal operations happening, whether it's in the state of Maine, Ohio, and Minnesota. I've been talking about Oregon for a long time. But I've always been paying attention to the state of Oregon, and I've noticed a lot of people simply don't realize how Oregon is very unique in their structure of sanctuary policies, which is why I find the state rather interesting. And the dynamic, the back and forth between protesters, federal agents, and so on. So, don't worry. I am keeping tabs on Oregon, Portland, Eugene, and other areas of Oregon to include the state of Washington. By the way, don't think I forgot about them. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope I was as fair as possible for you guys. And, God bless all of you. Make sure to please pray for peace. We need that right now. And I thank you, Guy, for everything. God bless, and we'll see you all.